Now this story, we mentioned this a little earlier, Booking.com are warning that artificial intelligence is driving an explosion in travel scams. The firm's internet safety boss, Marnie Wilking, said there had been anywhere between a 500 and 900% increase in the last 18 months. This is troubling stuff. Areas where people are tricked into handing over their financial details since AI tools like ChatGPT burst onto the market. Many saying this is only going to get worse. Let's speak to futurist and CEO of Fast Future. Rohit Talwar is with us. Rohit, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Ian.
Always nice to have you with us. I mean, this is sort of kind of the direction of travel at the moment, isn't it? AI is ahead of the game.
Absolutely. And it's obviously very worrying that the technology is getting so good that it can write these scam emails, which we've been getting for 20, 30 years now. But it's getting really good at writing them in the style of Booking.com or any of these Airbnb and others. And there are no more grammar mistakes. There's no more spelling mistakes. And so they look really legitimate.
Yeah.
And it's really about us educating ourselves more and more to know that we should never click on a link in those things. And we should go to the website directly and see if there's a message in there for us, or if we're really concerned, call them up. But literally, I would never respond to any email that asks me to click on something. And most big organizations tell you that they will never do that either.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, the days of the Nigerian prince sending you a little email, which started off was, with "Good day, my brother, and great tidings from Nigeria," or something like that. I mean, straight away you'd rumble it on the first line. But now, as you rightly say, AI, Rohit, is so good that it can replicate not just correct English, but also it can write in the style of a certain operator, a travel operator, and it can allude to all the things that they know because of the fishing expeditions they've been doing that you might be interested in. I mean, they are almost within 5 minutes, they've become incredibly impressive for all the wrong reasons.
They've become very good, and we have to remember that there's all sorts of fantastic uses for this now. If I'm hired as a new marketing manager and I'm asked to write a marketing plan, what might have taken me a week, I can now get a first draft in 5 minutes. And so it can also boost our productivity and our creativity. If I ask for a list of 20 top places to visit if I'm going to Carlisle, it would save me so much time in the research. So we can't just be negative. But also, I think it's very dangerous for people like Booking.com to be saying it's our problem. They need to make really clear in the email confirmation that they send us when we've made a booking that the only links they should click on are in that email.
Yeah.
And they will never send us anything that requires us to click again.
Yeah.
They need to take ownership in the same way as, one of the things they've talked about is how many scam property listings they're getting on their websites.
Yeah.
They're making that our problem. They're saying, well, we should book package holidays instead. No, if I go into a store and the loaf of bread I buy is 70% sawdust, that's not my fault. That's their responsibility to make sure they're not putting on scam listings on their website. So I think they're a bit like the social media companies who've said it wasn't their responsibility if people put hate speech up or fake news.
Yep.
I think they have to take responsibility and protect us a lot more. If they want our money, they have to protect us.
So, somebody told me a few years ago that when you have a problem and you paid by Visa, for example, it's quite easy to get your money back, or generally speaking, it's quite easy. And the reason apparently it's quite easy is because Visa know there are so many gaps in the system that they have to take that responsibility. It's great that you have a bit of plastic with your number on. Now it sits in your phone. You don't need the physical thing, but it's still nonetheless, the idea that somebody just needs to get hold of a few digits and they can start spending. They know that part of that problem is with them. They've come up with a great system, but there are going to be pitfalls. So if it goes wrong, they'll pay you out. It's that kind of thinking we need, isn't it? That these companies have now forevermore really got to get a handle on this. Otherwise, we're going to see this exploding even further.
Yeah, well, we should have two levels of protection because legally, when we pay with a credit card from Visa or MasterCard, our contract is with them. It's not with Booking.com or Airbnb. So we now have two levels of protection. One is the credit card up to a certain limit. I think it's up to £1,000 you're protected instantly, and then you get into negotiation. But the second level is the sites that are pulling together all these properties, and they're making it sound really, really difficult for them to do. But they're the ones who are listing each property one by one. And it shouldn't be difficult for them to test out whether these people are scammers.
Yeah.
And I really think that if they're going to make money out of us, they have to take more and more care to make sure that what they're offering us is legitimate, and also being aware of these scams. I don't know, most of us have probably fallen victim. We arrived in New York years ago. 5 of us, we booked from what we thought was a legitimate website. Beautiful looking property. The vehicle didn't turn up to pick us up. We got to the property. There was no one there. And we kind of then realized it was a complete scam. Yeah. But we got refunded by the credit card company. But everyone has a story of some sort of scam, but it won't get fooled again. We've all learned, once we've been scammed, to be much more careful in what we do and our behaviors. And I think, again, I'll say it one more time, I think it's up to the vendors, the Booking.coms and the Airbnbs and all the other providers, to make sure that they have vetted everything they're selling us.
And it can't be beyond the wit of mankind to be able to say, right, here's the first email. There'll be things on that email that identifiably make it legit. You might be asked to click things within this email, but you will never receive. It should be almost that something we all know. Never click on a second email, only ever click on the first. So we would have that information, and they've got to make that clearer. Listen, Rohit, thank you. Always good to gauge your views on these kind of things. Rohit Talwar, who's a futurist and CEO of Fast Future, with us here on Talk. 0344 499 1000. If you've had that kind of scam thing happen to you, I mean, it must be a horrendous moment that when it suddenly clicks, no pun, that, hang on, I've just sent this money to, oh my God, we've had it with people moving house when they send the deposit or something to the solicitor, but the solicitor email wasn't the real email. Somehow somebody, whoever knows how, they either lucked in or they were in your computer. They knew you were going through a house exchange, so they sent you an email. Oh, we've just changed our bank details. This is where you send it, and bang, 20K gone. And you can't get it back because you sent it. We've got to get ahead of this. So if artificial intelligence can be used against us, it surely can be used for us. There must be a way of using it as a defence too.